good. I disagree with looking at their mouth though. I feel like sometimes that could be a distraction.
Yeah.
But I do agree with
Well, it depends. If it's crusty and ashy, then you know what I mean. It could be problematic.
I'm not listening like that.
I pride myself on hella humble. I pride myself on the ability.
Hashtag. I've been eating edibles, y'all. Make me snack more.
Like, I really struggle with that. Like, it literally makes me angry.
A penny for your thoughts. A penny for your thoughts. 2 cents is an opinion. 2 cents is an opinion. But we've been blessed with wisdom. 3 cents is what we giving. 3 cents is what we giving. A penny for your thoughts. 2 cents is an opinion. But we've been blessed with wisdom. 3 cents is what we giving. A penny for your thoughts. 2 cents is an opinion. But we've been blessed with wisdom. 3 cents is what we giving. Come on.
3, 2, 1, back again. What's up, world? Welcome to your favorite podcast. That's right, the 3 Cents Podcast, where we give you a little bit more than our 2 cents. We are here to enlighten, inspire, encourage, and keep you company for a little bit. I'm your girl, Ashlei Rain, here with the homie.
The authentic, the original, the real Stacy B. Jones. What's happening? You like that?
I like that. Man, we back again. Thank y'all for joining us.
Yeah.
Happy to be in here.
Man.
What's good, Stace?
Man, I'm just glad to be in the land of the living.
Amen, brother. Amen.
What's going on with you?
Man, living the dream, the seams and in-betweens.
Living that quarantine life?
You know what it is.
How's it going?
Same old same, painting.
Yeah.
Been getting a lot of commissions lately. Okay. Which is cool bread.
I was going to say commissions equal cash.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's actually crazy. Like, I've probably been turning down more than I've been.
Really?
I won't say than I've been accepting, but turning down more than I would like to.
Okay. It was simply for time purposes?
Well, time and supply.
Okay.
You know, because it's hard to buy things like certain canvas sizes and things of that nature. I would have to tag on a lot for them to ship the canvas. So I've told people, like, you have this option, or we could just hold off.
Right.
You know, but I can't do it right now because I don't have it. So that's been interesting. You know, been reading a lot.
Nice.
Probably watching more movies than I usually do.
Really?
Yeah. Probably old movies to some folks, but to me, a person who doesn't really watch TV, and I can't actually say I've been watching them. I've probably been more so listening to them because I'll be having them on while I be painting.
Right.
But 2 that I've seen that were really good. Again, these are old to some, new to me. Black and Blue. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did see that. That was a good movie.
I thought that was a good movie.
Yeah.
Y'all check it out if you haven't seen it. 21 Bridges.
Saw that.
That was pretty good.
That was a good one.
Not as good as Black and Blue, but it was still good.
Nah, Chadwick, I felt like that one was a little bit more predictable.
Yeah. Well, I just feel like it didn't move as fast. Like it was a little bit slower, especially in the beginning.
Chadwick Boseman was mad skinny in that movie.
Was he?
Yeah. I
didn't notice.
Yeah.
But you all hella humble and in shape, so you probably notice those types of things.
Not with this quarantine 15. No, I didn't really gain 15, but
what habits have you developed during this quarantine time?
Okay, so one of the things that I have always struggled with in terms of working out has been my cardio. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not a person that like loves to run and all of that, but because I'm spending so much time in the house, like I have mapped out this 3.8 mile route around my house. And so I try to get out, 3 times. I try to get 3 times a weekend to do this 3.8 mile route. And so I've done more running and, jogging, walking, whatever, but I just have done more than I probably ever have. So I'm like, man, if I had just been doing this when the gym was open, I'd be in stupid shape. But what happened was the other habit I picked up was snacking because I'm home all day.
Yeah.
And so I don't know what it is. Like you just start, and so
I think we eat to fill time sometimes.
Exactly. Like I'm like, I don't even know that I'm really hungry, but I'm back in this kitchen, And so like, my girlfriend was supplying me with food, like, and like, so she likes to cook. And so, man, we was eating good that first couple of weeks. And then I was like, okay, love, like we gotta slow down. Cause I had like gained like a quick 10.
Oh, wow.
And so I was like, I've come too far to go back. And so I was like, all right, so I had to get on it. And so I was able to get back down in my kind of normal range back in, where I felt comfortable. Cause I'm like, I can't
Man, I definitely put on a good 15.
Seriously?
Yeah. Easy.
Man.
Snacking. I've been eating edibles, y'all. Make me snack more. I had to quit those. I started a habit and stopped all in the quarantine. Y'all should be proud of me. I prayed for myself and got delivered.
I knew the devil was coming in for the kill, and God did a thing. There's not a word for it. There's not a statement, not Greek, not Hebrew. He did a thingamajig. He did a whatchamacallit. He did a something or another. He did a nebulous, undescribable thing. That's why I can't tell you how he did it or why he did it, but when I think about it, it puts running in my feet and clapping in my hands. He did it. Just, oh God.
I was having them every day. Now I just do once a week. No, I'm just playing.
No, you're not.
I'm not playing about. I was doing them for a while, but I'm not doing them once a week.
So what was the motivation to stop? Was it because you were snacking so much because of the edibles?
A urine test.
Oh.
I passed that mug though, and then it broke the little habit I had going on, so I was good.
How long did you have to stop for you to pass the test?
Shoot, I don't know. I probably needed to stop for a month, but realistically, I probably stopped for a couple weeks and did a hack. I'm telling on myself, y'all.
Hey.
Yeah, I called my friend who is an expert at passing drug tests.
Okay.
And
you got
loves to get high and passed with flying colors.
Right on. There it is.
But also what I noticed is because I was like snacking so much and had the munch, I mean, it did help me sleep a lot better.
Okay.
So I will say that. But it also had me eating so much, you know, and like no energy to work out or do anything.
Right.
So it was actually a blessing that I had the motivation to, and I wasn't even trying to get a job, which is the crazy part. So I was like using it as an excuse.
What did you have to take a drug test for? You didn't have to.
I didn't, but somebody wanted me to work, and I was just trying to like go through the motion and whatever. So I did all of that stuff and stopped. But I was feeling better, like now that I didn't have that in my system so much. So what habit I did pick up is I bought a juicer. Okay. And so I've been juicing a lot. Yeah. You know, I don't even eat carrots, but I've been juicing them like crazy.
Man, when I was on my juicer thing, I used to do carrots a lot too.
Man, a lot of carrots, apples, ginger.
I was about to say carrot, apple, ginger was like my go-to.
Yeah, it's so good. I mean, I add celery, but like a little bit so it doesn't overpower.
Because celery will cut through everything.
Everything.
But ginger always gives it that little
Yeah. So yeah, I've been doing that. Beets. I don't even eat beets, but I've been juicing them.
Cool.
What else? I mean, shoot, I don't really eat greens, but I've been juicing kale, chard. Which I probably ain't never bought chard before in my life. I didn't even know there was different types of chard.
Right on.
I done got rainbow chard. I'm
Swiss
like,
chard.
Oh my God. We got options. Parsley.
Okay.
You know.
Man, you own it.
I have. So I like that exchange.
Are you back working out?
I started riding my bike. Okay. But I haven't done it enough to qualify as changing habits. Okay. But for the last few days, I have done it. So. Okay. And I have a whole gym at the house because, you know, I used to be a trainer. So
that's what's up.
I got ridiculous stuff. Like I got 2 bikes. Speaking of that, people can't even get bikes nowadays.
You cannot get a bike. Like I have been saying I was going to get a bike. And so I haven't been as diligent about looking for one. But, you know, once I found out that they were so hard to come by, like I literally was driving through Walnut Creek the other day going to pick up some food. And like, there was a line out of the bike shop, like this social distance line outside of the bike shop on North California Boulevard because people are buying bikes. As a matter of fact, I had said I was going to get a Peloton. Pelotons were sold out for a while. You couldn't get one. I think you can get one now, but you couldn't get a Peloton because like
gym
people are
equipment.
Like, you cannot find weights like
and they
nothing.
Price gouge like crazy.
Like
crazy. But yeah, fortunately. And thankfully, I've had my stuff for a while.
Yeah.
I actually have a fold-up bike that's really dope.
Really?
Yeah, it fits in my trunk.
Nice.
And it pops open, but it's not like flimsy.
Yeah.
I don't know the brand of it, but I'll tell y'all later once I remember.
Where do you go ride?
Well, shoot, nowhere lately. I've been using the stationary bike.
Okay.
I have a stationary bike too.
Okay.
So I guess I have 3 bikes.
Nice.
But what's crazy is my one bike is in storage.
Okay.
Just because, I mean, I don't really ride anywhere.
Right.
And I like the convenience of the fold-up bike that I could just take with me.
Right.
That one is a Fiji.
Okay.
But the other day I was on Amazon looking for candy paint, like spray paint. I was like, man, I want to change the color of my bike. So
Of course.
I actually ordered some. So I might do a new project.
All right. You're such a creative. Like, I don't know anybody else that would be like, I'm going to paint my bike.
Man, it's like they had all these options. I was like, man, it could be iridescent. It could be, and red is my color. Right now it's like I don't know, like a muted, I'll probably say a word that people be like, what is that?
Hey.
Muted blue,
Okay.
grayish color.
Okay.
But nah, I want to like change it red or something. Red, like reddish, orangish, maybe like a fade from red to like yellow iridescent candy paint. Something dope. Something will be like, somebody will be like, ooh, where you get that bike from?
Hey. That's what's up.
But yeah, that's my motivation. So habits I've quit, like I said, eating gummies.
Okay.
Habits I've picked up, juicing.
Okay.
See that exchange?
That's what's up.
Habits you've put down, eating a lot.
Man.
Habits you've picked up, running.
Yep.
You guys see a theme here?
Hey.
Health is important.
It's easy to like fall off.
Oh, yeah. It's easy. Speaking of falling off, that's how it is. Necesito practicar mucho mi español porque olvido muchas palabras.
All that time you spend in Costa Rica.
All that time.
Man.
But see, like what I just said for those that don't speak español is I need to practice Spanish a lot because I've forgotten a lot of words. But I still have like the root and basis. It's just a matter of having someone to converse with.
So that you can practice your tenses and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, I feel it.
Absolutely. All right. So let's get into these questions. We got some questions. Crazy good questions.
Let's go.
Crazy good questions. All right. I got one for you.
Okay.
What is your religion when you don't believe in religion, but you believe in God?
So here's the thing. Religion in and of itself, or to do anything religiously, is to do something basically on a routine and consistent basis, that there's structure and order to it. And so there are a lot of people that believe in God, but don't quote unquote believe in religion. However, there are still things that they do religiously, and so I think that their religion could be any number of things, even if they don't subscribe to what people call organized religion. And so they may not worship, in a particular way at a particular time, things like that. And so I think that they do have things that they do religiously, and they may even to the point that might be what they put in the place of their religion, even though they don't subscribe to organized religion. And so I think that a lot of times we draw that line between, God and religion, but truly I think that the essence of our relationship with God really isn't necessarily in religion in and of itself. I think it is the religious things that come out of the relationship that we have with him.
Got it.
So
Interesting. Yeah, I don't have an answer. I just had the question. So
it's all good.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
So I don't. So for those of you that are out there, like, is the pastor judging me because I don't believe in religion, but I believe in God? And I'm not judging you. I'm just saying that there's probably something in your life that you do religiously that you may put in the place of religion. But those of us that, practice quote unquote religion, truly it should emanate from our relationship with God, not just for the sake of being religious.
Got it.
Yep.
Got it.
I got a question for you.
Let's go.
Who would you not want to be interviewed by?
Gayle King.
Why?
Because I feel like her interviews, while she may ask great questions, she has no response, like no emotional response. And I like to know that, like, what I said is actually interesting or not interesting. It's like she just asks the question for the sake of getting the information and then moving forward. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so I feel like would answer questions and then have hella questions in my mind going on while she's asking me the next question. You know, shout out to Gail for her questions, but nah.
Right on.
I'm cool.
Yeah.
Like even when R. Kelly went off, you know, she was
a G.
Robert, stop it. Y'all quit playing. Quit playing. Robert. I didn't do this stuff. This is not me. Y'all, I'm fighting for my life. Y'all killing me with this. I gave y'all 30 years of my career. Robert. 30 years of my career.
She was just like,
Robert.
Right.
Robert.
That's to my point, though. Like, you ain't going to be like, sit down. I said, you know what I'm saying? Like, nothing, just...
Nah, but that just means that she's in control.
Exactly. And I want to like stimulate you in some kind of way.
It's kind of like you want to know that you want to elicit a reaction.
Something.
Yeah.
Like something.
Know that you're connected.
Something. Like something.
But she going to give you zip, zero, zilch.
Zero. She like an interviewer in a job. You might kill the interview and you ain't even going to know.
I have no idea.
You're like, damn, did I get the job? Or did they not like me? Like, that's not the type of interview experience I want.
I can see that.
And so I'm going to ask you the same question.
Who would I not want to be interviewed by?
Who would you not want to be interviewed by?
The Wendy Williams.
Why?
Wendy is relentless, and she seems to have ulterior motives in everything that she's, you know what I mean? And she always wants to venture into that forbidden territory.
Personal business?
Man, you know what I mean? And
but
so she has no respect for boundaries. And so it's like some stuff is just none of your business. You know what I mean? You can ask if you want to, but like, why are you even putting me in that position? So I'm like, Wendy can.
I can see you saying that about her, actually. Like, I can see the real Stacy being uncomfortable in that setting because you have personal boundaries.
I do.
Where I would find it exciting to combat those questions.
Nah,
like, even if I didn't want to answer it, I find it entertaining or maybe stimulating for me to kind of like avoid or find a creative way or clever way to
get around it.
Exactly.
See, now here's the thing. Like, I do have strong personal boundaries when it comes to my personal business, for sure. But at the same time, I'm also very diplomatic, and so I could answer without answering. Right. You know what I mean? Right. And so I could. But my thing is that I would just be upset. Right. Because I have these strong personal boundaries that you're getting in my business. Like, like for real, lady. Like, because I've seen her like go there with some folk, and I'm like,
did you strip? And how long was your life as a stripper? How many basketball players have you been with? There were words on the show that you had been with 3 basketball players in one night, like passed around. Do you ever feel like by putting your reputation out there like that nobody would, no reasonable man would ever want to marry you? That all you are would be a trick?
To me, it's just off-putting. Like, it's just...
I have to. I think I'm more interested in the response of the person than the fact that she's asking the question, because I know that that's her. You know, like, she's consistent.
Yeah.
You know, she don't come out of left field and be like, yeah, so who did you sleep with last night?
Yeah, but I think the thing is that I thought it was cool when not cool, but I thought it was interesting when she was going through, as she has been going through her divorce. I don't know if it's final or not. Right. But that she had to be on the receiving end of some of that. Mm-hmm. It's very interesting.
Yeah. No, I think it's good.
Yeah.
I think it gives her perspective of what people feel like when she puts them in that place. And I have noticed a difference. I mean, not lately because of the quarantine, but I had noticed a difference while she was going through that.
Yeah.
Of her approach or things. She was more quick to compliment rather than criticize.
Yeah.
You know, while she's been going through that.
No doubt.
But
interesting.
Interesting, to say the least. All right, I got one more for you.
Okay.
Let's see. Do people who are bilingual have the ability to communicate more effectively than those that are monolingual?
So I think that's a super interesting question. So I think it depends on what we mean by effective. And so sometimes if a person, so I'll put it this way, if a person has mastery of both languages, then I think that they're able to communicate more effectively. And here's why. Because I think that there are a number of languages that have words that have nuance that better capture certain things, situations, feelings than our English language, that people that have exposure to multiple languages and they've mastered them, and they're able to help.
Like linguist.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Shout out to Fabia Fuensalida.
Who is that?
She is my linguist.
Okay.
She actually has a master's degree from Harvard in linguistics.
Nice.
She's my Spanish tutor, but super intelligent and
sure.
just, speaks multiple languages.
Yeah.
So, yeah, to your point,
Yeah.
not to cut you off.
No,
but
it's fine.
yeah, definitely to your
Yeah,
point.
it just like you find that they're just in like they capture like the essence of things better, at times. And so, we kind of find the best equivalent, but just because it's the best equivalent doesn't always mean that it's accurate. And so I think that people that have mastery of multiple languages are actually able to communicate better because they're able to kind of pull from different things in order to better express the idea of the thought.
Yeah, I would agree to that to an extent.
Okay.
I would also say it depends on the audience and the listener.
Okay.
Because some people can be extremely intelligent and well spoken, but yet the person whom they're communicating with may not understand to the degree that they are communicating. So it's like they're using all of these words, but I don't understand them.
Right.
So how effective is that communication?
Yeah.
Whereas someone who may not have the educational background or, knowledge may just be like, hey, I went, up the street, went to the store.
Keep it
super
basic.
basic.
Yeah.
Super basic may be more effective in their communicating because they don't know all of these 4 or 5 syllable words.
Yeah, no, I can agree with that 100%. So again, I think that we have to define again what is effective,
Right?
So is it maybe effective is not necessarily, in the words in and of themselves, but it's the ability to find whatever words are necessary to communicate an idea.
Yeah.
In light of your audience, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that would be more accurate.
Like I pride myself on hella humble. I pride myself on the ability.
Hashtag.
I pride myself on the ability to go, kind of at both ends of the spectrum, because it's like I feel like in whatever it is that I do, that it's my job to take things that seem to be difficult or complex and to break them down to their lowest common denominator for people to understand. And so, so I can easily communicate with someone that doesn't necessarily have a high degree of education or whatever the case might be, that might, speak in a lot of colloquialisms. What does that mean? Slang, just, basic, and then somebody that, is highly educated and has an expansive vocabulary. I can communicate with them as well. And I want to be able to do both effectively.
Got it. That makes sense. I feel like I communicate a lot in analogies or stories and things of that nature.
Which I think everybody can relate to.
Yeah. I think that is where I'm most effective.
Okay.
Is I can paint a picture. Maybe because I'm an artist, I don't know. Or maybe because I have this habit of viewing things from various perspectives.
Okay.
So like if I'm driving or if I'm telling a story about driving, I'm also thinking about the passenger and what they may be experiencing as a passenger, but not just the front passenger.
Right.
I'm thinking about the one behind me as well as the one, like super fast, and I think that also came from, not to bring up being a police officer again, but working in internal affairs and having to watch body cams and videos of several officers doing the same exact, responding to the same exact call, but yet seeing various things from different perspectives of the same situation, the same second, the same minute,
Right.
but they all look different.
Right.
It has made me do that in my personal life as well.
Yeah.
And so I often consider, I may not express it, but I often consider the other person's point of view, even if I may not totally understand it.
I've had to learn to do that. And I think that that's part of like effective listening, especially like when you're in a relationship. I think that is like the most challenging time to do that.
Yeah.
Because, how you communicate in the midst of a relationship is going to determine if you are understood, or it's going to determine if you, so like if you're in a relationship and you're having a conversation, like how you say it and what you say, how you say it is oftentimes going to be more important than what you say, because it's going to elicit a response. And so it may elicit defensiveness, which then completely undermines whatever the subject matter is, because it's not, now we can't deal with the topic because now you just simply feel compelled to defend. And so I know for me in particular, is that I've had to learn to listen more effectively so that I can make sure that I'm not approaching from the defensive.
Right.
That I'm like, okay, I might have to just eat that. I
Right.
know how it's making me feel right now, but let's get outside of how it makes you feel.
Yes.
And try to latch on to the message at hand.
Yes.
So that you can deal with the subject matter and not just deal with your feelings.
Right. And I to that point, I think that listening is more important in conversation than actually speaking.
Agreed.
I think that, well, you can only speak about what you know, but you can learn so much when you're quiet and listening, and so also, again, having to take statements from people that I'm responding to that have been victims or suspects also gives you that ear of, because you have to completely remove yourself.
Yeah.
I can't put in the fact that, okay, I'm a Black girl who grew up in deep East Oakland. You know what I'm saying? And I know this person is wrong based on my history.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you have to have this completely unbiased as much as you can.
Which is not completely possible.
It's not completely possible. But to think about if that were your exercise every day.
Yeah.
So in internal affairs, which I spent a year in, you have to do that.
Yeah.
Like, you can't say based on my training and experience.
Yeah.
You can't say based on the fact that I grew up in Vallejo, is what you would say.
Yeah, you better know it.
You can't, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You have to completely remove all emotion and just the facts
Right.
have to determine what you think should happen.
Very difficult to do.
Difficult, but if you do it daily, you'd be surprised at how you start to view things.
Yeah.
So I think that my problem is implementing emotion and compassion because I'm looking at things very factually.
Okay.
And I think I have a habit of also thinking about people's backgrounds.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, how did they grow up? Were they an only child? Were they a middle child? Were they an older child? Were they a younger child? And this is like, not even ruminating. This is just how my mind works as a result of being trained to think that way.
Yeah.
When I'm taking someone's side of the story and they're
Right.
making an argument for where they feel they were wronged.
Right.
And so it's interesting, because even in my personal life,
I was just going to ask you.
even in my personal life, like I see now in my adulthood, a lot of things with my mother. Like when I converse with my mother, I can see a lot of things as a result of her being a child that was raised by a 15-year-old mother of 6. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I can see the way that she thinks or some of her defenses have come from her childhood.
Right.
Where she was always at a defense because she was, in the middle of those 6.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, but I see it clearly now, which is crazy, but it helps me to converse with her differently because I'm not feeling attacked.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, this is actually a part of her upbringing. And some people are so unaware of self that I also factor that in as well. And I'm not saying that I'm super self-aware, but I do feel like I'm more self-aware than maybe a lot of people are because I've had to have this training, which also then makes me look in the mirror and say, well, what did you get from your childhood, from your parents, from your father, your strengths, your weaknesses, you know what I mean? Things of that nature. So, but I do, just to reiterate, think that listening is extremely important, and not many people do it well.
Yeah. I am striving to do it better. I think I do it okay. But I, like they talk about active listening, so I remember, in one of my previous jobs that, we had this whole thing about active listening, and how literally focusing physically on a person's mouth and paying attention to the words that are coming out of their mouth, because when you have to focus at that level, then it disarms you from being able to formulate your response because you're having to focus so intently on the words that are literally coming out of the mouth and that you can't, because we have to listen with the intent of understanding, not listen with the intent to respond.
Right.
And I think that we are taught to listen with the intent. So you're formulating your argument while the person's talking to the point that you're missing some of the nuances and the details that you really need to be ingesting,
Yeah.
And so I'm working regularly on becoming a better listener.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's good. I disagree with looking at their mouth, though. I feel like sometimes that could be a distraction.
Yeah.
But I do agree with
It depends. If it's crusty and ashy, then you know what I mean. It could be
Yeah,
problematic.
I'm not listening like that. I think it depends on the type of learner you are.
Yeah.
If you're a visual learner, then okay.
Yeah.
If you're an auditory learner, I think it benefits you to not look at them so much in their mouth as much as their eyes.
Yeah.
If you're more of like a kinesthetic type of doer, I think it benefits you to be doing something while you're intently listening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because then you can hear words without being distracted by what's going on with their face or what's going on. So I think it just depends on what type of person you are. But I think asking questions like to get understanding, like even if you think you understood, but to repeat like, okay, well, what did you mean by that, helps with active listening, because your interpretation of what they're saying could be totally different than their
Absolutely.
intent,
I like relevant questions, but what like burns me up, and I learned this in my professional life, is that if people are just asking irrelevant questions, like I really struggle with that. Like it literally makes me angry.
Yeah. I second that, though. I think that's just people with the lack of common sense, and I think when you're an intelligent person, it frustrates you because you're like, you should know the answer to that.
Yeah. And it's like, sometimes I feel like in my professional life, like sometimes I'm like, are you asking me questions just so that you have something to say? Because this is not even really super relevant to the conversation. You know what I mean? And it's like, I try to be patient, but I'm like, like it really, like I have to make sure that I'm hyper aware of my responses in those moments, because like, I'm on the verge of unprofessional,
and I feel like that goes into stupid questions. People be like, there's no dumb question or no stupid question. I'll be like, I disagree.
Yeah.
There are. And I feel like there are some questions that just are baited.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I hate that. Don't be asking me something when the second question is what you really want to ask.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like that either.
I don't like to play that game. So it's like,
get to the point. It's like, why are you here?
Period.
What are you doing in the next 30 minutes? Like, why? Like, just ask me the question that comes after that.
I would like to meet with you to discuss blah, 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 blah.
Exactly.
Are you available?
Exactly. Yeah.
Thank you. You know what I mean? Yeah.
But some people do that, I think, because they may be fear rejection and they may be insecure. So them prepping, like, well, what are you doing in the next 30 minutes? If you say, oh, I'm doing X, Y, Z, then they won't even ask, so they don't have to feel rejected.
Right.
Yeah. So character issues.
For sure.
Moving right along. No, real talk. So I have a friend whose child was pregnant.
Okay.
Baby due in a month.
Okay.
Right? So she's excited. She's like, oh, I get to, grandson coming home in a month. Exciting. I'm like, that is exciting. Mm-hmm. And then she gets a call that the baby is possibly dead. So she rushes to the hospital. Mind you, we have this coronavirus going on. Mm-hmm. They won't let her in. Will not let her in the room. The daughter is 8 months pregnant and has to give birth to this baby that no longer has a heartbeat. So my friend is, devastated, of course. The child of the father is in the room. Long story short, the baby didn't make it. So the umbilical cord was wrapped around the baby's neck twice. So there was nothing that could have been done. But she gave birth to this child on the day of her baby shower. Right? So completely devastated. And so a part of the grieving process, which I found was very interesting, and I've been talking to, the friend throughout the process. So like while she's in labor, thankfully she was able to FaceTime. The father FaceTimed the mother. So she was able to kind of be in the room, but not in the room.
Right.
But a part of the grieving process of that, once that child was out, was that the mother spends like 24 hours with this baby, no heartbeat, right? And it's so that they can develop or create good memories, because the trauma of just giving birth and having the baby taken away is too much. So they have the mother change the baby's diaper. They have the mother massage every part of the child while it's dead. They put clothes on it. If the baby has hair, like they do the whole nine as if this baby were alive, so that they can create moments of memories that are more fond. My question, and reason why I'm even bringing it up, is now people questioning like why, quote unquote, God allows these things to happen. So what are your thoughts or your pastoral advice if this were one of your members and they came to you with that question?
If a member came to me with that question, why God allows these things to happen, you know what my answer would be?
No, but I'm sure
I don't know.
Yeah.
And I think that for anyone to try to say that they know the reason why, I'd be hard pressed. And I think that the more that I develop in my own faith, I'm okay saying some things we just don't know. Doesn't make God any less righteous. Doesn't make God any less holy. Doesn't make God any less loving. Doesn't take away from the character of God. I just don't know, because I'm trying to understand it through my own limited human thinking. One of the things that I do think about is that it's a painful situation at any point when a child, dies at any point in the pregnancy process. It's painful when a child is living and dies. It's anything associated with the death of a child is like devastating.
Right.
At the same time, I also think about the fact that we live in a crazy, horrible, and cruel world. And so one of the things that has given me solace in situations that, that I've been through, or that people that are close to me have been through, is that there are some really painful things in life that child will never have to experience. And so, yes, they will never graduate high school. Yes, they will never get married. Yes, that child will never grow up to have children and all those things. But, that child will also never know what it feels like to have your heart broken. That child will also, never know what it feels like to be stabbed in your back by someone close to you. There are certain things that are really painful in life that they also won't have to experience. And I just happen to believe that God just takes them up. You know what I mean? That God just welcomes them, welcomes them in. And so, it's painful in one sense, but, the God that I serve, I believe, takes them in another sense. And so, it's just, it's rough.
Right. So I want to add, this is not the first time it's happened to her. This is her second child she's given birth to that is dead. So,
Wow.
And I know that we don't know why these things happen. A point I do want to bring up though is oftentimes in these situations, people say things that they may feel are right, but are highly inappropriate.
Yeah.
Such as, he's in a better place.
Yeah.
I don't think that
No.
a mother wants to hear that, or
God doesn't make mistakes.
right. Any of that. He won't give you more than you can bear. I mean, I know that they have good intentions.
Yeah.
But I think in these situations, it's more appropriate to say, I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
Or I'm really sorry for your loss.
Not too long ago, a good friend of mine had a situation where her daughter in her 20s and her daughter's son were murdered by the boyfriend, the former boyfriend, the son's father, who then subsequently killed himself. And so I didn't have to. I was asked to perform that eulogy for a mother and her son who were both in the same casket under some devastating circumstances. So this friend of mine, who I've known since I was in my early teens, preteen, early teens, is trying to figure out why, and so, and because I'm there not only as a friend, family member, pastor, I'm all these things at one time, I was very cautious about, even as she was asking questions out of her grief, very cautious about the things that I was saying, because part of me is just saying, I don't have the answers, but I'm just here to hold you and to be with you,
right,
and to let you know you're not alone in this, and so, and had some very direct questions for him, because I'm there in this pastoral capacity. And so I'm like, yeah, let's not, you know what I mean? Let's not try to figure all this out right now.
Right.
Let's just sit in this moment. You know what I mean? But I think that people that are not even trying to answer questions that are being asked, but you're answering things that aren't even being asked.
Right.
Is that you have to get comfortable with that uncomfortable silence in those moments, because sometimes your presence is more powerful than your words, especially if they're inappropriate. And so I've had to learn in the pastoral capacity that sometimes I'll go places and I won't say anything. I'll just be there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it has to be okay.
Yeah. I feel like that is, like I said, more appropriate and more, it's providing good energy.
Yeah.
Because they're already combating so much negativity, whatever they're going through.
Yeah.
So I think that is safe to err on the side of being present rather than speaking.
Agreed.
But it's a crazy situation.
Yeah, I am praying for your friend and her daughter, because that is, to experience that once is, devastating, but to have experienced that twice is like unimaginable,
it's
and so the things that must be going through her mind, I can only start to imagine,
right.
And I can't wrap my mind around that. And so, like, my thoughts and my prayers are with her and that entire family.
Thank you. Yeah, I've been present. That's all I can do. But yeah, my prayers go out to them as well. Get your life together. What y'all know about that, huh? Yeah, I still can't sing. But we have come to this part of our podcast where we like to offer our 3 cents of advice for those who write in, call in, see us in person, or ask questions. And so we have an anonymous Get Your Life Together submission, and I'm going to read it. You ready, Stace?
Yep, let's go.
I know Christians who are totally against smoking weed, and don't know I smoke. Is it really biblically wrong to smoke, or is it that just their view? I'm sorry, I'm reading this, but it's like, hold on, let me start over.
Yeah.
Okay. I smoke weed, not tripping off that, but I know Christians who are totally against it and don't know I smoke. Is it really biblically wrong to smoke, or is it that their view, or is that just their view? Dang, I need to start over again. I smoke weed, not tripping off that, but I know Christians who are totally against it and don't know I smoke. Is it really biblically wrong to smoke, or is that just their view? And should I feel as if I should hide that I smoke? That's the first part.
Mm-hmm.
They know I drink occasionally, and that's not a problem. But when it comes to weed, they've totally bought onto the propaganda set forth by Harry Anslinger.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are my family, so there's that issue. I don't like pretending that I don't smoke weed because I feel as if I'm being fake. But I also don't want to have, quote unquote, the talk with them because of the judgment I know they'll have. What should I do?
Interesting. I feel like we've talked about, our whole views on cannabis and Christianity and all of that. So I don't know that we necessarily need to go into all of that. But in terms of navigating the relationship with his family, the thing is that everyone in your family is going to have different views on different things. And I think that one of the things that we have a tendency to do, let's just say for the sake of our conversation, that this is wrong.
Right.
Let's just say that we agree that it's wrong. Not to say that if we consider something wrong, that we excuse one another, but I think that we have to learn to seek understanding and have grace in our conversation as we talk about these things. Because sometimes what we do is we begin to create a hierarchy of things. And so because what I do is more socially acceptable than what you do, then I'm going to get on my, my high horse and I'm going to, do this or that.
Right.
And so I think that there just has to be a conversation, with those family members that's, kind of honest and direct in terms of saying, hey, we have different views on this, but that doesn't make them any less a family member. That doesn't even make them any less of a believer. Even if you have differing opinions about a particular activity, that doesn't, it doesn't mean that. And so I don't know. I just think that there needs to be some honest conversation had. And I know that it's hard, but, you can't make any progress without conversation. So he has to, if this is something that he feels passionately about, then I think that the conversation needs to be started. What are your thoughts?
That's a good question. I think I have mixed feelings. A part of me feels like, yeah, conversation is good. But then there's another part of me that feels like is conversation necessary? Just be who you are.
Okay.
Because I feel like once we go around explaining or trying to defend some of our behavior, we're setting it up like what we're doing is wrong. When in fact, if you believe what you're doing is right, then why do we need to converse about it?
I agree with you. I agree with you in that sense. The reason I think the conversation why I think it may be conversation worthy is because it's obviously something that is creating a wedge in the relationship. And so the relationship may be, if it's a familial relationship especially, valuable enough to where whatever you need to do to preserve that relationship, if a conversation is what is necessary and going to preserve it, then I think that that's the thing. And so I think that, to determine whether it's right or wrong, that's going to be an individual thing, so I might have my, thoughts from a pastoral perspective. You might have your thoughts. He might have his thoughts. So we might look at this thing from several different vantage points. However, regardless of that, if it's something that is impacting the relationship that he has with people that are near and dear to him, then it may be worth a conversation. Not saying that he's going to alter his behavior, but what can he do in order to, to at least try to hold the relationship together if it's that valuable to him.
Right. Yeah, I would say not have a conversation until you have you're in a situation that
warrants it.
Exactly.
Or you could just be like, Ashley, just gummies.
YOLO. Nah.
Gummies. That way you can say, I don't smoke.
That's true. Case in point. And then start juicing.
There you go.
Amen, brother.
Immediately.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's an interesting conversation, especially in light of weed being legal.
Yeah.
I mean, not federally, obviously, but in the state of California. I think that's a hard conversation, especially when you have a bunch of people who may be unwilling to open their minds or, change their beliefs.
Yeah.
So I think that maybe having that conversation prematurely can create more dissension.
It could.
So I would say wait until you have an interaction that maybe warrants
the conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think that manufacturing it, well, maybe, because what situation would come up that would warrant the conversation, And so is it that, that you can smell it on my clothes. And so now we're having a conversation.
Right.
So I don't know. I think that, having a conversation where everybody is clear headed and there's no emotion involved or no one is operating in the offended state.
Right.
Might lend itself to a more fruitful conversation. Like, help me to understand why you feel the way that you feel. Just starting with a question, I know that you have an issue with this. So can we talk about it? I don't know.
Yeah. Interesting. All right. We got another Get Your Life Together. You ready?
Really?
Yes.
It's hot off the presses?
Yep.
Let's go.
It's hot off the press. It's fresh in. It's okay. You want to read it or you want me to read it?
I can read it.
Okay.
Let's see. All right. My older cousin is struggling. She is alone. She is disabled and needs a lot of help. We had a rotation of family members helping her, taking her to doctor's appointments, running errands for her, making sure she has money. But the pandemic has broken down the structure that we had. Some people have lost jobs. People don't want to be out and about. So it seems like it's always me. And honestly, it's too much. I hate to leave her like this, but I have my own issues and family to attend to during this time. And to be honest, it's been hard. It's been hard on us. We are 5 deep in our family, and our home never felt smaller. Our home never felt smaller now that we're always here. With homeschooling, working from home, and managing my own marriage, I don't have much energy left. Certainly not much money. But if I don't help, who will? And she is single, alone, disabled, on a fixed income. What should I do? This comes from Eric J.
All great questions. And I'm thinking about this because I have similar situations going on within my family. So I find it very interesting that this question has come through.
Okay.
What I feel, and I may be wrong, obviously, because I don't know these people personally, but oftentimes I think that we enable people to not help when we're willing to help so much.
Okay.
And so I think that when you pull back, when people care enough, they'll step up and help in whatever way they can.
Okay.
I think if we're always occupying the parking space, then no other vehicle can ever pull in.
Right.
So I think, and you have to find balance. Like if you're not good for yourself, then how can you be good for anyone else?
Right.
And especially if your home is not well, if you're being absent from your home to take care of another's home, I think that you're not helping both of you. You're just trading issues.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I think it's important to find balance, have the conversation with your family members, especially if there are 5 of you.
Yeah.
And while this pandemic has definitely affected all of us, I think that even bringing that up in conversation, and maybe even not even suggesting, but mentioning personal issues, like everyone, giving them a turn to share. Because sometimes I feel like people just feel unheard. And so that makes them want to kind of retreat or be selfish for self-preservation or for whatever reason.
Right.
So I think giving people, having a family conversation, opening it up to saying like, what's going on in your life? What are you struggling with? What's, say all the bad, let them vent. And then once everybody vents, I think it allows them to let their guards down, and everybody at then is more vulnerable, and then speak about the family member that is in need and what needs need to be met and in what ways, and then ask people like, in what way can you give, and then work around that type of schedule.
Right. No, I think that's clear, because it sounds like it sounds to me like there is not an unwillingness to help in general, because it sounds like it is the current circumstances of the pandemic that have, precipitated this issue, right? To the point that people are pulling back because they have their own concerns. And so it sounds like Eric J is having this concern because, the reality is that, he's the one that is kind of still hanging in there,
right?
When everyone else is pulled back, which is not necessarily fair. But obviously, everyone else doesn't see this as an obligation, and Eric J does.
Right.
And so people have, either knew that Eric J was going to step up, therefore they felt comfortable pulling back, and they're like, well, Eric got it. Or, or they're just prioritizing differently than Eric is.
Right.
And so I do agree that a collective conversation is to be had, but it can't be an indictment. It has to literally be a legit conversation. Like, hey, everybody has legitimate concerns.
Right.
Everybody has priorities that they need to manage. Everybody has their own job and health situations that they're trying to manage. And so that's understood. So what can we do? And here's the other thing is that, what other resources are out there for, that may be able to fill in the gaps, because I would imagine that there are still, certain support services that are available to someone in that situation. If they're on a fixed income, if they're disabled, I believe that there are, resources that are available, that can help to fill that gap. And so maybe people have been, maybe the family has been hesitant to take advantage of that in the past. Maybe they thought that it was unnecessary if they simply, shared the responsibility. But now that the circumstances have shifted, maybe it's time to reconsider what other supplemental services might be available in order to help to fill the gap so that everybody doesn't feel like they have to try to shoulder it in the midst of the pandemic when there are people that are getting paid as essential workers to continue to support.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully that helps, Eric. With everything going on, of course, we wish you the best of luck in that situation and hope that your family member gets the proper care and attention that they need.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from all over the land and country, we have reached that point in the 3 Cents Podcast where the lovely Ashlei Rain is going to give us not 2 cents, not 4 cents, but 3 cents. A little wisdom for you. Ashlei, what you got for the people?
So, what's on my heart to share is the fact that we don't get to choose the hand that we are dealt, but we do get to choose how we play it. And sometimes playing our hand is knowing when to hold them and when to fold them. And what I'm speaking about is knowing when to let people go. Knowing sometimes we have friends, they could be in our lives for seasons. They can be in our life always for a reason. But sometimes those seasons are up and it's hard for us to let go because of how much time they've spent, yet their season has run out. I believe the soul of you knows when to let that person go when they're negatively affecting your life. You have to also know which friends can handle your heavyweight and which friends can handle your lightweight. And what I mean is some friends are there for you to share deepest, darkest secrets, frustrations, struggles with, and they can take it to the grave, also offer you wise counsel. And some people are there to tell you which shirt looks best with which jeans or pants or shoes you have on. And I would consider that your lightweight. And also don't give people the responsibility of handling heavyweight when they are only equipped to handle your lightweight. So you have to know the character, know the people that you surround yourself by, but ultimately know when to let people go. For your own sanity, for your own sake, and for you being the best you possible. So again, we are not able to choose the hand we're dealt, but we always get a choice on how to play it. So know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to let people go. That's your 3 cents from your girl, Ashlei Rain, perspective advocate.
Know when to hold them, know when to fold them.
There we go. Go on, singer.
Hey, you know what? And as a matter of fact, Kenny Rogers just passed away recently.
Man. Condolences. Well, not so recently like last week, but
yeah,
right on. Well, we thank you all again for joining us on another episode of your favorite podcast, the 3 Cents Podcast, where we give you a little bit more than our 2 cents. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or you just want to say what's up, then email us at the 3 Cents Podcast at gmail.com. You can also follow us on social media. We on the OG Facebook as well as the new GIG. At 3 Cents Podcast, the 3 Cents Podcast. You can also find me, your girl, Ashlei Rain, on all of those social media outlets. And, of course, the one and only.
The real _ Stacy B. Jones on IG and at Stacy B. Jones on Twitter. Holla at your boy.
Man, thank you once again. Until the next time, we out.
Peace. Holla.